Hi, in today's video I'm going to be reading only classics for a week. I'm only going to be reading books by the Brontë sisters throughout this video, and I have a book per each sister. So first on my list is Wuthering Heights by Emily Brontë. A lot of people have been reading this book recently because of the movie. That is not why I'm going to be reading it. I actually started this once when I was in secondary school. I borrowed it from a classmate, but before I could finish it, the owner took it back. So I've always wanted to get back into it. And from the little that I read back then, I remember enjoying it. Of course, I was only like 13, so my views now as a 20-year-old will obviously be different. And I'm excited to see what I think of it now. This one I've actually never heard of until probably a few weeks or a month ago. This is The Tenant of VLLO by Anne Brontë. I think I saw a video. I don't know who posted the video. Maybe Melissa on TikTok. I really don't know the video that I saw, but I think I saw a video saying that this one was their favorite Brontë sister book. So I picked it up and I am excited to get into it. And the last that I plan to read this week is Jane Eyre by Charlotte Brontë. This one is also a very popular book, and I actually don't know what happens in it. I tend to go into books not knowing what they are about, but I'm excited to find out. I'll be starting my reading journey with Wuthering Heights though. Today is Sunday, 5th of April. The last time that I checked in with you was on Monday. So it's been a week and I have not read a page since then. But it's not my fault. We were moving, which I don't know if you noticed, but the background is different. That's because we moved houses. And because of that, I didn't have as much time to read and film. So we're going to be restarting the challenge. And I'm going to try my absolute best to actually read those 3 books this week, because I go back to school on Saturday, and once I'm back in school I won't be able to film for you. So let's start the challenge. Now that I think about it, I haven't even unpacked my books yet, so I'm going to go get that from the bag that it's in, and we're going to start reading now. It's Friday and I just finished reading Wuthering Heights. It was quite an enjoyable story. I liked it. The story starts off with a man visiting Wuthering Heights to see his landlord Heathcliff, and he goes there twice, and on his second visit he has an horrible experience that leads him to asking the maid why Heathcliff is such an abominable man. And so the story of Heathcliff and Catherine is told. Catherine is a prideful, self-absorbed, spoiled brat, and Heathcliff is a vengeful man. Their love is a very passionate, obsessive one. It is a wild, passionate story of intense and almost demonic love between Catherine Earnshaw and Heathcliff, a foundling adopted by Catherine's father. After Mr. Earnshaw's death, Heathcliff is bullied and humiliated by Catherine's brother Hindley, and wrongly believing that his love for Catherine is not reciprocated, he leaves Wuthering Heights, only to return years later as a wealthy and polished man. He proceeds to exact a terrible revenge for his former miseries. Like I said, Heathcliff is a very vengeful man. 2 generations basically suffer because of the actions of Catherine, Hindley, and Heathcliff. I liked the book. I really liked the book. I enjoyed the story, and I was in a reading slump before I started reading this. That's why it took me so long to finish it, but I think it was a very good book. I feel like a lot of people don't read classics because they are scared that it will be too dense and hard to like assimilate and understand, but this one was pretty easy but at the same time, the writing, the prose was incredibly good. I really liked the way that it was written. I liked that it was the maid that was telling the story of Heathcliff and Catherine. And I also liked whenever the characters would just talk and talk and talk and just go on this long, winding monologue. I really liked that as well. There are a few quotes that I liked. There's obviously the very, very popular one. Is more myself than I am. Whatever our souls are made of is and mine are the same. That I know everybody knows that quote. But there's another one that I really liked. My love for Linton is like the foliage in the woods. Time will change it, I'm well aware, as winter changes the trees. My love for Heathcliff resembles the eternal rocks beneath, a source of little visible delight but necessary. Nelly, I am Heathcliff. Wow. I really like that. And if you read the book, you will understand why that was such a good quote. There was a time that I even cried during one of Heathcliff's monologues or speeches. It was good. I really enjoyed this book. I wish I had read it when I wasn't in a reading slump so that I would have enjoyed it quicker. But this was a 5-star read. I liked it and I would recommend it. I might watch the movie, not the new one that was made, because I saw the trailer of that one and it disgusted me. But I think there are multiple movie adaptations of this book, so I should find one that is good enough and I'm going to watch it. Emily Bronte's writing, yeah, I loved it. Now that I'm done with Witchery Nights, I have Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte and The Tenant of Woodfell Hall by Anne Bronte to choose from. I'm going to read Jane Eyre, I think. I've heard that it's a very romantic book and I am curious about it. It is about 400 pages long. I usually read 100 pages in like an hour 30 minutes, maybe a little less, so it will take me roughly 6 hours to finish this book. Let's hope that I do before I end this video. I would like to read at least 2 Bronte books, 2 classics, for this video to be valid. Yeah, I'm going to start Jane Eyre now. It's been 2 weeks since I last saw you, but I finally finished reading Jane Eyre. Okay, I I liked this book. I did, but it was quite dreadful to get through. I'm not gonna lie. It is written in an autobiographical fashion. Like it feels like if you're being told a story, like your grandma is telling you a life story. That's what it feels like. And I quite like that when we were in the beginning of the story. Actually, let me tell you what the story is about before I start getting into all my criticisms. Jane Eyre is basically the story of Jane Eyre. She is an orphan and she gets maltreated by a guardian and is sent to an academy. And at this academy, she grows, she goes through some things, and she leaves the academy. She gets a job, she meets Mr. Rochester, a romance blooms, tragedy strikes, a very quintessential romance story. I really like that academy days. Personally, really like stories set in schools. So the academy days were very, very nice. I really liked the way that the story was told then. By the time she left the academy and she was now 18 and she met Mr. Rochester, I wasn't as big of a fan anymore because I don't like Mr. Rochester. He is a gentleman, which in old English basically means that he's rich, he has an estate, and he acts entitled and self-absorbed, and he's like 15 years older than her, and he treats her like a pet. So it was just a relationship. But I liked that Jane didn't sacrifice herself. Like she didn't give up herself just to please him, even though he treated her like a pet. I don't know how to explain it. Like She was definitely not a pick me, I would say that. With all of my reservations about Mr. Rochester, I do still think that he and Jane made a good pair. They definitely matched each other. Like, I can't imagine them being apart. And I like the end of the book. After the tragedy strikes, Jane makes a decision that I think was the best decision she could have made. Really, the best decision she could have made. And so the ending was very satisfying for me. I really loved the ending. Um, all in all, even though it took me 2 weeks to get through this book, and it's a very descriptive book, it has long descriptions and long dialogues, and it makes it very hard to get through. I think I said earlier in this video that I read about 100 pages in an hour 30 minutes. I timed myself while reading this book, and I read 47 pages in an hour 30 minutes. That's how like long it is. Like it takes a lot of brain effort to get through. But like it's a very enjoyable read still. Yeah, I can't really fault the book for anything. I think everything was done marvelously. And Charlotte Bronte is definitely a great writer. I would love to compare Charlotte and Emily, but I can't quite point out any differences in their writing style. They are both very beautiful writers, and I enjoyed both books. 5 stars for both. And even though it took me like a month to finish both books, I think it was an enjoyable experience, and I do believe everybody should read the two books, even if you don't end up enjoying it. I just think it will still be a nice experience. So I plan on watching the movies for both. Unfortunately, I won't be able to film that, but if I watch the movie before I post this video, then I'll tell you what I felt about the movie as well. But either ways, that's the end of this video. Thank you for watching. Maybe I'll read more classics. I definitely will be reading more Bronte books, that's for sure. Bye.